Welcome back to AFTV. We have a new signing through the door. In fact, we have two new signings through the door. But we're going to focus on one today, and that is Leandro Trossard, a poor guy over there. This is the Arsenal first 11. We're going to figure out how he impacts this team, what he gives us. Of course, depth is the focus of everyone's discussion, but I think it's really important to explore who he is, what he adds, why we signed him. And it's a £27 million deal. 27 million, you know, 5 months left on his contract. Although someone said to me that they might have had the option of extension. I don't know. I won't go into that. But he's an Arsenal player. That's the important thing. I think everything got done by midday on the Friday, which means he should be available to play against Manchester United. That's unconfirmed at the moment. By the time this video is out, it might be. So I'm sure that will be covered on AFTV socials. But welcome back to In Focus, everyone. If you did see the In Focus series we did during the World Cup, it's basically a player breakdown series, an opportunity to take a player or take a story or a situation and just look at it in a little bit more detail. We are going to be applying that to transfers, of course, and the academy players that come up as well that we need to talk about there. You know, breakthrough into the team, we'll talk about them as well. And as you saw during the World Cup, we took 5 particular players. Ben White, Granit Xhaka were 2 of them, Zinchenko as well, and just explored why they've had such a massive impact on this team. I think Saliba and Jesus were the other 2 as well. But episode 6 of In Focus focuses on our new signing, Leandro Trossard. Now let's go into it, and there's no better place to start than a player profile, of course. Let's get it up here. Leandro Trossard, 28 years old, just turned 28. Some people were freaking out about, oh, we've not signed a player under 23. What's going on? 28 years old, Leandro Trossard. He will be 28 for most of this calendar year. That debate, you know the one on Twitter. Just feel the need to explain that for some. Belgian international, plays as a forward, right-footed, but I have got the word predominantly there. Keyword. Stands about 5'7", oh, it's all different, but anyway, doesn't matter. 5'7" roughly in height. He's got a superb left foot, a really good left foot, and I've got evidence of that in some graphics a little bit later on. A low centre of gravity. I talk about low centre of gravity a lot. People must think, great, so what? What I mean is he plays with a sort of, I think Jack Wilshere, I think Eden Hazard, I think Santi Cazorla sometimes, that ability to ride, challenge, use his strength. He's got very kind of good strength in this area. You can see when he's carrying the ball, because as I've put down, he can dribble. He's not got raw pace, but his ability to ride challenges and use his quick feet, and he does have good acceleration. He does have good pace, but he's not like, you know, we're linked to Mudryk. I know people in the comment section of videos were saying, please stop talking about Mudryk, but of course he was the target we were looking at. Where Mudryk looks like he's got raw, blistering pace, I don't think that's what Leandro Trossard brings, but he is quick, and I think his low centre of gravity and the way he moves with the ball at his feet is a big part of why he's a good dribbler and can take players on, and I think the fact that he's got a great left foot is a big part of that as well. Fantastic close control, that sort of filters into everything I've been saying. These are just attributes I've picked out, by the way, from watching him. Instinctive finisher, he really is. You look at some of the goals at Anfield, he's not got a lot of time to think about what he's going to do in the quick feet and what he's going to do in tight spaces, but he's got that instinctive finish to him. But he's also a bit of a playmaker, and he's fantastic in pass combinations as well. He's got that ability to, you know, be a creator, get in between the lines, play passes, 1-2s, combine in tight spaces as well. So he offers a lot to us in this situation, Leandro Trossard, and I think it's his versatility as a player as well as the different positions that he plays in that is a big reason why Arsenal were keen to sign him. Now, we know he wasn't first choice. Let's be really, really honest about that. We know that we looked at Rafinha in the summer. We know that then Mudryk was followed for a long, long time, and Arsenal were willing to pay a big fee, but it looks like they found a compromise, and another player that, as we hear from Ryan later in this video, has always wanted to play for Arsenal, but also really fits the bill in a lot of ways. So let's start by just having a look at where he played for Brighton. Now, I've got here just a 4-2-3-1. De Zerbi tends to go for that formation. I've got him out on the left. Now, he has played so many positions for Brighton, mainly because he's played in so many different systems. And we'll break that down again in a graphic you'll see in a little bit. But here I've got him on the left wing. And I think if you were to just take all the attributes, everything you know about him, the positions he's played, you'd say that's the position to play. It's sort of that inside forward, can create, got a number 10 to play off, got a forward that's going to run in beyond, but then you have Estupinian, you've had Cucurella over the years, overlapping. That feels like a position that sort of fits in with everything Trossard is. That's maybe where you're going to get the best of him. But he has played really wide out on the touchline, really wide positions. And actually, in the way Brighton did it, it's kind of interesting because the midfield in itself is so unbelievably fluid, but they have played with just almost a back three if he wants to move. There we go, he does. And almost another player in midfield, like a 3, a box, and then what's that, a front 3? Or is it like a 3-2-5-1? Where he's had to really, did at Old Trafford earlier in the season, but he's really, really high and wide. And he's not a wing-back, although you kind of would call it a wing-back, because of course he has to track back a little bit to help. But he's holding a really high, wide shape. They did that under Graham Potter. And he really, really sort of excelled in that role. I mean, you've got to have a fantastic engine to play in that, but also you've got to have real tactical awareness, understanding of, you know, a formation that isn't the kind you see that often in the Premier League. Graham Potter, I think, has tried it a few times at Chelsea, and it takes a while to pick up. I think Sterling's been tried in that role. And Trossard did it brilliantly for Brighton. They had a lot of success and continue to have success since Potter, but obviously when they had Potter playing this, he was brilliant. And then if we just move everyone back into their shape a little bit, there we go, back to a back 4. He has played in a 10. He has played as an attacking midfielder. He has played leading the line. He's even played off the right, scored a goal at Anfield very recently, earlier in the season actually, with him playing as the, you know, I think he was playing off the right at the time. Matoma come on, puts it into the box, and his left foot that puts it into the back of the net. And we see that in his flexibility in this, where we just do a little bit of a goal breakdown. First and foremost, I point you all the way to the right here. The positions he's played: 48 times as a left winger for Brighton, 22 times as a striker. By the way, the left wing back kind of debate, you know, what was he really playing? I've just included that in the left wing, basically on the left side of the pitch. 22 times as a striker or out forward, false nine, whatever you want to call it. 37 times as an attacking midfielder, shadow striker, playmaker, and then 7 times on the right wing. So you can see that the least of his game time has come on the right. And that makes sense. Like I mentioned, he doesn't have raw pace. He's got pace. He can accelerate past players. He's got fantastic trickery. But he's not, especially as a right footer, always going to be the one to just knock it and go around the outside. Again, can do it. Did it at Anfield. He had a lot of fun in multiple positions in that game. But again, you see most of his work done as either a false nine, as a creator, as a left winger as well. Now, let's go through a little bit of a goal breakdown. Let's start with here. We talked about his left foot. 9 goals with his left foot, 15 with his right foot, and then I think 1 with his chest, I think it said on Transfermarkt. Got those numbers from Transfermarkt. Go check them out for more details. But that just shows you the versatility he's got, not just in positions, which we mentioned here, and when we were looking at where he's fit into the Brighton team, but actually looking at the different goals he scored. A hat-trick at Anfield with his left foot. He is, I mean, it was a phenomenal hat-trick as well. He is very, very comfortable with his left foot. This isn't just, I'm a right footer, but I'm good with his left. I mean, I probably did him a disservice at the beginning of the video by saying his player profile that he's predominantly right-footed. Okay, maybe evidence is there, but his left foot is absolutely superb. He would come in and I think immediately become the most two-footed player at the club. And that is saying something, where Bukayo Saka's got a superb right foot. And there's other players who are very gifted with both. He would definitely, I think, come in and be the most two-footed player at the club. And that is a real weapon. I mean, Arteta himself played with players like Cazorla, and we saw the goals he scored with both feet because defenders don't know which way you're going. And I think that unpredictability in that he's got some pace, can go round players, he's going to go right foot, left foot. I think it makes it really difficult for defenders to stop him because they don't really know which side they'd rather put him on when he's taking a shot or trying to make a pass. And I think that is a superb weapon for Arsenal to have and Trossard to have in this team for the rest of the season. 13 of his 25 goals for Brighton have come against the Big Six. Let's break them down. 1 at home to Liverpool, but 4 goals at Anfield he scored. 5 goals in total against Liverpool. Let's not forget what Liverpool have been the last few years. Man United, a goal at home, none away from home. Never scored at the Amex against Arsenal, but has scored at the Emirates. 2 goals against Chelsea at home, 1 very recently with his left foot in that brilliant 4-1 win they had. Tottenham with a Tottenham with a goal at Tottenham and a goal away from home. Remember that winner he scored? No, it wasn't left foot. It looked like he'd shimmied onto his left, but he toe poked it with his right. Brilliant bit of skill as well towards the end of last season. Man City, 1 at the Etihad, 1 at the Amex. And then, of course, that is the breakdown of goals, 13 in 25, as I mentioned. That is phenomenal. I saw a TikTok going around, which was something like Trossard destroying the Big Six. I mean, he scored against all of them. He scored against, except for Arsenal and Man United, he scored more than once against Tottenham, City, Chelsea and Liverpool. And that is phenomenal. Let's be Brighton fans watching this, and I mean this with all due respect. They go into these games the underdogs. In fact, they've gone into a lot of games the underdogs. and Potter last season did a brilliant job, and De Zerbi's doing amazing things now. And, now you really fear Brighton when you're playing them. But they went into a lot of games, the underdogs, with maybe less possession teams, with maybe, and they've always had a lot of possession in their games, to be fair, but essentially a player like Trossard is looked at to say, look, big game today, tricky, we're not expected to do anything. How are you going to get us through it? And he has stepped up on several occasions in the big games, Leandro Trossard. That is a massive thing to take note of, because everyone's contributing this Arsenal team. Everyone. In fact, let's have a little look at the Arsenal team now. Everyone from Gabi Jesus before his injury, Eddie Nketiah's coming in now, Saka with however many goals I can't keep up, Odegaard our top scorer, Martinelli, even Xhaka was getting goals. You had 2 from Partey, Saliba and Gabriel each. They're chipping in with goals. So Trossard's another player that's proved he can score goals in the Premier League. I think he's got 7 or 8 for the season already. I need to double check that. He's another player who can come in and get goals and just add more firepower to this Arsenal team. But how will he look in this side? That is the big question. Now, the first thing is to go back to everything we said about, the positions he's played, which I showed you on the last graphic, the positions he's played for Brighton, and just say, well, sorry, Martinelli, out you come. In comes Trossard. Are we really going to do that? Martinelli's been absolutely phenomenal. Is that really what we're going to do so early? I don't think he comes straight into this team. I think he has to work for his place in it. But of course, in Jesus' absence, he might come out. You might bring Trossard. You know what? Let's bring Martinelli and Jesus closer to me. Why would I have them all the way over there? There we go. You might just put Trossard there and then have Martinelli back in the team. You can play in the front 3. It's all getting a bit messy, but you get my point. Could play as a false 9. Of course, the Jesus injury, as I mentioned, Nketiah's been leading the line. He's been doing brilliantly. But yeah, sure, that's an option. But then I think in terms of looking at where he starts for Arsenal, and, you've got the Europa League games, you've got the FA Cup. Maybe he plays so brilliantly that he works his way into the side. He's talented enough. Why not? I actually think it's more about understanding what he's going to do from the bench at first. And I think there's 2 ways that we might see him have an impact. Now, the first thing is to essentially look at what Arsenal did when they were struggling for a goal. And the most recent example we've had is Newcastle. Now, we know that in this team, if we just take Trossard back out, it was Eddie Nketiah, but let's just keep Jesus. Now, we know in this team, they really hug the touchline. Let's move Trossard up there. They really hug the touchline, Saka and Martinelli, and they allow for Odegaard and Xhaka to get into those underlapping spaces with Zinchenko. Let's bring it across. With Zinchenko coming in field. And so often trying to find this threaded pass into Xhaka. So often against Newcastle, actually Arsenal had a little bit of joy getting that ball into Xhaka, and he was getting it on the half-turn and he was running with the Newcastle defence. That was the one time I started to see people for the first time this season say, Xhaka's so much improved, he's good on the underlap, he's been getting goals, box-to-box midfielder, love it, love it, love it. But you could see turning out and running at players, it doesn't come so naturally to him. That was maybe where he was lacking a little bit of finesse or drive in the final third. I wonder whether in this situation, Arsenal, chasing a goal against Newcastle, would now, again, 15-20 minutes to go, bring on Trossard. Why not? It's like everything I said earlier about the way he's played for Brighton. Really, he's kind of best with someone to overlap, go on the outside, so that he can pass and combine with, but also can get into those central spaces where he can get goals. A lot of his goals for Brighton have come from that inside forward position. So why not? Arsenal chasing a goal. Why not bring in Leandro Trossard into this position to try and receive the ball on the half-turn from Zinchenko and run at players? People have even said that Smith Rowe could be brilliant in that position. And yeah, absolutely. Smith Rowe probably is more naturally a central midfielder profile-wise than Trossard. But you're chasing a game. Your back 3 split. Why not? I think Trossard could come off the bench. Arsenal could move into a more fixed back 3 shape rather than it just be becoming something we are in possession, when Zinchenko comes in field, and actually chase games with Trossard alongside Odegaard, Martinelli and Saka behind Jesus and Nketiah leading the line. Why not? That is a serious amount of firepower and there's goals across that front 5. But I think there's another area. Now, who remembers in games where Mikel Arteta, it was more last season, because obviously Zinchenko adds a different element to Arsenal now, but who remembers when Arsenal were chasing goals, Arteta would go to a flat back 3 and get Saka and Martinelli as the wing-backs. Stretch the pitch, you're in those areas anyway, get really wide, and basically just, run at your fullbacks and allow this front five to flourish. Well, what if we swap Martinelli and Trossard actually becomes that left winger? Because what was I just saying about Brighton at the beginning of this video, the way they've played with a back three and then two really high wide wingers. We know Saka's played as a wing back before and has covered in those areas, and we know Trossard's done it for Brighton. Again, another option if it's Martinelli that actually you want to get closer to goal, or if Arsenal are to take Martinelli out with Xhaka as well, okay, you might keep Xhaka in the team, but you've got someone like Emil Smith-Rowe, who I just mentioned earlier as well, and Trossard would be very comfortable on that left side of the pitch. I think he gives us loads of options. I really do. And I think it's worth exploring more what he's going to do in terms of coming off the bench. The obvious thing is, hopefully we're winning, and he gives a rest to Martinelli or Saka or Nketiah, who's in the team for Jesus, is injured as well. It's just more options. It's just other players who can come on and keep things fresh and keep that momentum and keep that rhythm and high level going. But at the same time, it's looking at what Arsenal do when maybe they're struggling to break down a team. How can Trossard come off the bench and have an impact? And I think he can in multiple ways, for sure. So there we go. Leandro Trossard. What does he bring to this Arsenal team? You let me know in the comment section what you make. I've tried to give my thoughts here, but I think it's a really, really shrewd bit of business. 27 million, player who scored goals in the league, who scored goals against massive clubs, who has been a big player when Brighton have needed it. Now, this is coming from an Arsenal fan. I've given you my evidence from my research. I think it's really important we hear from a Brighton fan, and who other than Ryan Adset. Go check out his channel. The link's in the description below. You've seen him on Seagull Social as well. He's been on this channel, done box to box with Turkish. He's a fantastic content creator and a real Brighton fan who knows this stuff. And he had some really interesting stuff to say about not only what he can do for Arsenal, but also the way things have ended between, the player and Brighton and De Zerbi. I think it's worth giving it a listen. So goodbye from me, but listen to Ryan, who's got some fantastic thoughts. And yeah, take it away, Ryan. Many thanks to everyone who's watched this video. Hit the like button if you enjoyed.
Leandro Trossard has signed for Arsenal for £27 million. Now, as a Brighton fan, obviously, look, it's not easy to take, but at the same time, it's not hard to take, if you know what I'm trying to say. Look, we got our money that we wanted. Tony Bloom is a fantastic businessman, as we all know. Arsenal have got the player that they want, and Leandro Trossard's got the move that he's wanted. He said when he signed for us back in 2019 that, that Arsenal was the club that he really wanted to go to. We all knew it, so it's not a surprise that when Arsenal came calling, it was going to be a deal that's done, if you know what I'm trying to say. And at the end of the day, Arsenal are top of the league, right? So we can't really complain. He's going to be potentially playing in not just Champions League football, but as a Premier League champion, which is insane to even say, as a Brighton fan, to have a player of that calibre. But look, we've got the best years out of him. At the end of the day, we've been very lucky with what we've seen. This season, he's got 7 goals, 2 assists, and 25 goals for us in the Premier League. And only Glenn Murray and Neil Maupay have more at 26. So we've got the best out of him, right? We've enjoyed some great away days, and what you can expect from him is an absolute big game merchant. That's exactly what Leandro Trossard is designed to do. He's designed for these big moments. He got a hat-trick at Anfield this season, and he also came up against Chelsea with a massive goal at the Amex in that 4-1 win. So you can expect big moments. You can expect him to be the man of the moment, but you can't expect him perhaps to be the player for consistency. Now, it's quite well known that Leandro Trossard perhaps is a bit of a purple patch player. He comes and goes with inconsistency and sometimes can go missing in probably games of lesser quality. So perhaps you come up against a team smaller than you, and I use that because, there is no team like that in the Premier League these days. But in a game like that, perhaps he does go missing. We saw in the FA Cup, or Carabao Cup, should I say, against Charlton, where he did go missing. He essentially didn't turn up, to be honest, when he did come on, and sort of just ambled around the pitch. And maybe we haven't got the Leandro Trossard that we wanted since the World Cup's been over. So it's not a surprise to see him go. Obviously, the bust up with Roberto De Zerbi recently. Obviously, Mikel Arteta actually had similar with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. And that's what probably sprung to my mind the most, is the surprise of perhaps a player with an attitude problem going to a team like Arsenal with Mikel Arteta. I was quite surprised about, but look, you guys are flying, right? So I can't exactly slate this deal, because at the end of the day, you're the ones that are the best in the league at the moment. So whatever you're going to do must be the right decision for them at this moment in time. So look, Leandro Trossard, great player, very skillful, we all know that, right? He's got a great sort of range of different shooting abilities, particularly cutting across the goalkeeper in the box, quite lethal in the box, to be honest with you. But other than that, I probably wouldn't say you're getting a player of direct speed. I'd say you're probably getting a player that's capable on the counter-attack, perhaps useful when it comes to that sort of 18-yard area, is capable of shooting outside the area, although doesn't tend to do it too much, but has scored a few goals for us in that fashion. As I said, very skillful. Able to take on players, particularly Trent Alexander-Arnold. If you remember, you remember. Sorry, that's a bit too much of a dig. But look, hang on, let's think. What else has he done for us? I think that with the attitude thing, because obviously that's the thing that Arsenal fans are going to be most sort of worried about. I'd say he's a player that you probably shouldn't expect too much from, right? Purple patch player, I guess if he's joining you for depth, you wouldn't miss that as much. I feel like the media obviously make it a lot more focused when they're at a big club. You know, you go to Arsenal and all of a sudden the media pick up on everything you do, and you might be seeing things getting blown out of proportion. Pretty similarly, to be honest, to how this Roberto De Zerbi bust-up has gone down. It seems like one of those where the media's almost taken it out of context and just made it into this massive thing, which I do believe is a bit of media sort of manipulation, if you like, but I don't see him as a bad apple, maybe. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know the guy, but I don't think that that's the case. Otherwise, I don't believe that Mikel Arteta would have gone for him with a similar way, as I said, with Aubameyang's situation that happened not so long ago. So, you know, we'll see. At the end of the day, we'll see. We're all happy. We got what we wanted. You got what you wanted. And Leandro Trossard will be an Arsenal footballer this season. And look, as a genuine Brighton fan, you guys have handled it well. The Arsenal fans have given me love on social media and every single time I come onto AFTV. So, look, I can only wish you the best of luck, and I do hope that we're competing for the title together this season, but we'll see. No, I do find it weird that we've sold to a title contender, though. That's mad. But, look, it's what it is. Enjoy the rest of the season, Arsenal fans, and I'll see you at the Emirates soon enough. I am kind of dreading it, though. But, yeah, enjoy Leandro Trossard, eh?
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.